Hi there, Release Fire here with the date for the release of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom fast approaching. I wanted to put together everything I've seen so far about the bosses in the game. So the trailers haven't given away a great deal, but they have featured more than you might realize. So I'm going to talk you through the bosses that we've seen so far, and kicking things off is the three-headed dragon that's easily missed. At the beginning of the second trailer, you can see it on the bridge on Hylia Bridge, and we're expecting it to patrol up and down that bridge, so you're going to have to take it on either the first time you cross it or some point later on, because we're expecting it to be one of the toughest bosses in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now you might see a three-headed dragon and think this has got to be something new, but the reality is that there's been a three-headed dragon, a two, three, and four-headed dragon in fact, in The Legend of Zelda back in the day. So the very first Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda, came out on the NES in 1987, and for the fourth dungeon, the boss was a dragon. It only had two heads this stage, and it was called Glioc. Now later on in the game, you then take it on as a mini-boss in other dungeons, and you actually take it on twice more, and in the second attempt it has three heads, and then in the third attempt it has four heads, and we're kind of thinking this might be a recurring boss in the game as you develop through the story. So maybe the first time you take it on it only has one head, and then you take it on it has three heads, and then who knows, it could turn into some crazy Hydra. But there's definitely a lot of potential for this to be one of the toughest bosses, especially if its heads detach as you defeat them and come after you in spirit form. That will definitely make it way more challenging, but either way, Glioc looks like it's going to be one of the big bosses in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Next up, we've got the Picoblin boss, and this is included in the list mostly because it's got the word boss in its title, but essentially it's going to be a recurring enemy type. But the reason it's kind of a bit more like a boss is because it controls all of the other Picoblins around it, and you might need to take them out before taking it out, or take it out before taking them out, so it's going to be slightly more challenging. Trailer 2 also confirmed that Hinox will be returning as one of the bosses, and you can see this one's slightly different because it's got this kind of like glowing pendant around its neck. So we're kind of imagining either you get to collect whatever's in there, or you're going to get to shoot at that to be able to do some kind of special damage. In addition to the dragon on the bridge, which I'm pretty sure is going to be Glioc, this box creature is also one of the coolest bosses in the trailer. You can see just under its right armpit, if you can call it an armpit, it's got what appears to be weak points, so either you're going to get to be able to shoot at those, to be able to take those out and do damage, or you have to climb up there somehow. It kind of doesn't look like climbing's going to be the right option, but maybe, I'm pretty sure it's going to be an arrow shot that will bring down a weakness, and then when you can see it just as it lunges forward, you can see right in the middle of its body, it's got these energy strings holding all of the boxes together. So my theory is that you hit the weak point and that destabilizes the energy strings. It collapses down to the ground. Then you can climb it a little bit and do some damage on it. But we'll have to wait for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom to come out before we get to see how that pans out. And then finally, it's time to speculate on the final boss fight, which the teasers, the trailers, everything seems to hint at Ganondorf. And if you don't know, Ganondorf is essentially the Garuda original state of Ganon before he got overtaken by demonic forces. And like I said, everything seems to indicate that he's going to be the final boss. There is an outside chance that it could be a return for Demise, who was the final boss fight in The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, but it's way too early to speculate how it's going to end. We'll probably just have to wait for the game to come out to see this one, and that is my rundown of the bosses that we've seen so far in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. As ever, if you haven't already, subscribe with the link on the left hand side, drop a like, leave a comment, check out the rest of my guide videos, the links on the right hand side, and I'll catch you next time.